Alright guys, Hatch Comic again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. ZooMaa coming up clutch again for the competitive COD community, putting on 3 tournaments over the next few days, totaling $100,000 total prize pool. The teams have been picked for the first one, and they are very fascinating indeed. Dashy and Simp certainly giving their perspective on what could well be the absolute super team for this first tournament. Definitely revenge maybe for Dashy and Kelly after the respin cheese I think that happened last year. Very much into your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into as ever. Firstly, Minnesota Rocker, they confirmed that Lynz is gone. Of course, many would say, why? He was your best player. But that's how it's going to be. He is, of course, following along Kismet and Skyz and Priestahh, we believe, to go over to the new Gentle Mates team, which presumably is going to be confirmed relatively shortly. It's funny how it works, because ZooMaa puts this tourney on, basically puts the AR pairings and the SMG duo pairings into duos, as it were, and obviously mixes them up and finds the teams as a result that we'll dive into here over the coming minutes. But of course, some of these teams have not yet confirmed who their AR and SMG duos are going to be, so how can we possibly know? Well, we'll find out soon enough. Rocker let Lynz go. Presumably that means that either they're going to confirm something, probably today, or that we are going to see the confirmation from Gentlemates relatively soon. Lynz, of course, then responds. It was an interesting season for him because he started so well. You know, right at the start of the year, he looked to be super promising SMG player, and I think he always was, but we never quite saw that from, let's say, Major 2 to the end of the season. Major 1 Lynz was right up there with some of the best, looked like a real Rookie of the Year candidate. At the end of the year, kind of fell away a little bit, but look, HyDra was not the official Rookie of the Year in his first year in the CDL back in Cold War. To be fair, there wasn't an official Rookie of the Year, but it would have gone to either Insight or Standy, not HyDra. So maybe there is a promising future ahead still here for Lynz. I think there is. The talent is there. Quickly on the meta right now. This is Exclusive Aces testing on the best ARs in the game. We know that the Model L has been causing a bit of controversy. It is rather good. But actually, It's Time to Kill is not incomparable to many other of the ARs in the game. As you guys can see here, the Model L kills in 4 shots. It can kill in 3 with a couple of headshots in the mix. We'll see that in a second. But it kills in 4 up to a very good range. The XM4 kills in 5 up to a very good range. And there's other viable guns as well. The Goblin is a 3-shot kill, of course, slower fire rate. But that's very strong as well. And the AK-74 is also good. The only one that's like bad, I think, is the GPR. Apart from that, everything else is pretty competitive. So, you know how it goes with the pros. They don't necessarily like to look at the numbers, they prefer the feel. And the Model L maybe feels overpowered, so I would not be at all surprised if over the coming days the Model L gets banned. Then the players start using the XM4. Then after Major 1, the XM4 gets banned. And then we go to something else. I don't know, but we'll see if it happens, because according to the numbers anyway, there's no clear reason, even like the recoil patterns and stuff like this, why the Model L is dramatically overpowered compared to the other weapons in the game. Now, you look at it from a headshot perspective, you definitely can see some advantages because, for example, the Model L with 2 headshots thrown in at point blank starts to kill in a shot quicker at 200 milliseconds. But even in the medium ranges, the headshots aren't making all that much difference to a number of the guns. So at the end of the day, it doesn't seem particularly clear that this Model L is dramatically overpowered. But, you know, we know how the pros tend to be. It is one of the go-to weapons at the moment. But the other weapons are also viable. The XM4 still seems, by the numbers at least, definitely viable. I think in an ideal world, we have a Model L assault rifle main AR player, we have an XM4 potentially run by the flex player or the second AR, and then we have a couple of SMGs. I'd just love to have a meta, kind of what we had in World War II when it was the STG as the main AR, the bar was sometimes used as the kind of secondary weapon, and then the PPSH as the SMG, and then in Black Ops 4, another example of the ICR as the main, the Maddox as kind of like the flex second AR, faster AR, and then the Sorg on the SMG. I'd love to see a meta this year where we actually get main ARs running the Model L, the second AR running the XM4, and then a couple of SMGs on the map. maybe even a couple of SMGs that could be viable, because there are various ones that there might be some personal preference in. So I think Trek, seemingly, yes, the maps aren't great. We'll discuss that a bit more later today. But in terms of the setup of the weapons and the balancing, they've done a good job on paper, and hopefully that gets reflected this year in what we see in the CDL. We did have a set of scrims go down yesterday. There's been a couple popping up over the last few days, but the new Cloud9 team played the new Ravens roster. So Sib, Mack, Attach, and of course Kremp on that roster of 4 against the new, well, kind of new / old Ravens, because it's still Gwinn and TJ, and it's Vivid and Slasher joining along. They played 5 maps here. This seems to be, so far, the map set that people are leaning towards. So Skyline is in, Vault is in, Protocol is in. I think, you know, they will probably stay. The other maps, of course, like Payback could well work for Search and Destroy, but for Respawn, it's just a bit too small. The other maps that have been thrown around are, you know, Red Card. Now, Red Card, when I first saw it, I wasn't, you know, especially expecting it to be that good. And is it that good? Well, no, I'm not convinced. But I think it is better than maybe I expected it to be. It's at least like semi-respectable. Now, it's a kind of a shame the scoreboard, you can't even see any of the kills. They gotta change the scoreboard, like, because all I can tell is attaches, eliminations, and deaths. I can't even see kills to deaths, and I certainly can't see how many kills happened on the other team. I can see hill time, an objective score, for some godforsaken reason. But yeah, Skyline and Protocol and Vault all won by the Ravens guys. Red Card then went the other way, and then they played one more map on the Rewind. So it seems like early on, and it's not pretty, but early on, that might be your 5 map set, at least for Hardpoint. Those are the ones that they're playing right now. Protocol, Skyline, Vault, Red Card, and Rewind. That seems to be what the pros have kind of settled on for the early days. But let's talk about the way this tournament is going to be ran. I don't want to say any more really on the scrim results, because it's so early days to really tell all that much into it, unless there's an emphatic result one way or the other. So that was, you know, 3-2 to the Ravens in that scrim set. But we've got to talk about this tournament that ZooMaa's putting on, because ever since the game came out, there were some questions even from Dashy. What about the tournament in the game? Why isn't there so much going on? I think, as I say, part of it is because lots of the teams haven't even confirmed their rosters. There's not that much you can even do. But as ever, ZooMaa coming to the rescue here. Cool to see that Ronnie as well is putting up with COD Agent a $1,000 Challengers Cup with 16 invited teams, 8 teams via an open qualifier. That's happening 8th of November, the qualifier is, and then the main event happens a day or so after that. So that's really cool. Get involved in that if you haven't already. But if you want a prize pool that's 100 times greater, you won't be able to play for it, because that is reserved for the pros. And over 3 tournaments. Now, I'm pretty sure that Activision is just like giving ZooMaa the money for this. I don't think it's his own cash, but still, like, what a great job ZooMaa's done. Honestly, like, without this guy in the scene, it would be in a far worse position. And it's great that Activision, with their budget they do have for these early season tournaments, will say, hey, ZooMaa, like, you know, you're the man we want to give the money to make this happen, because he's got the relationships that he needs to make this work, and this is what we're going to see. 3 tournaments, 12 teams of 4, CDL, AR, and SMG duos. Teams picked alive for these 3 tourneys. The first one is coming up today, then there's another one in a couple of days, and then on the 5th and 6th, there's another $50,000 tournament. So this is going to be phenomenal to watch, and as ever, there was a bit of controversy with the way that things were done. Now, the Vegas Falcons are not here yet. They're still out there in Saudi. I think that Xnid has been streaming, so it's possible to go and watch his POV, but they're not out on North American servers yet. I don't know if it's visa stuff. I'm pretty sure Falcons as an organization, they can get the visa stuff covered. The question is on timing, I imagine, getting everything set up where they're going to be based out of, stuff like this. They'll be over in NA soon enough, I imagine, because they're not there right now. The FaZe Black official team, so effectively ZooMaa's Challengers roster is going to be coming in. So a couple of guys, and yeah, so FaZe Black, the Stallions basically are going to come in, and some good upcoming talented players here with Timmy Phantoms as well. So nice to see. Obviously ZooMaa, I'll share a clip in a second where he says, like, if you guys are hating on the cheese, then well, yeah, it's my tourney, so I get to choose who the 12th team is going to be. But they will just be playing as a team of 4, whereas all the other 11 teams were splitting up their AR and SMG duos. So you guys might remember when they did something similar to this last year, there was some respin cheese going down. I think Dashy and Kenny ended up with like JoeDeceives and Afro maybe as their kind of 4-man team. Didn't go to plan. and there was some drama because people didn't like their partnerships, and then they were like, oh, well, if you drop some gifted subs, we'll respin the teams, and it was all kind of cheese. So none of that this year, hopefully. This is that quick clip from ZooMaa, and then we'll talk about the teams.
We did want the Falcons to be a part of the tournament. They are not able to play because they're just not here. So my challengers team will be hopping in. I got very young guys. I got Encourage. We got Abe and Lurks. They're all 18 years old. They're all young and up and coming, and it'll be a good shot for them to kind of showcase themselves. And we also got Timmy Phantoms joining them as well. So we're throwing my challengers team in, FC Stallions in for that 12th team. If any challenger players get mad saying special privileges or whatever, that's right. It is special privileges. It's my tournament. So go fuck yourself. And the other 11 teams will be choosing from the wheel. You know, we would love to have Falcons in there. But yeah, they just couldn't make it. So, you know, hopefully we can get them in on the next one. But
so Team 12 is that kind of FaZe Black Stallions team we mentioned, but these are the other teams. And starting from the top, it's an absolute banger. Dashy, Kenny, the OpTic AR duo, Simp and aBeZy, the SMG duo from FaZe. It doesn't on paper really get any better than this. I mean, this is one of those absolute super teams that you could potentially form at some point into the future. But yeah, Dashy, Kenny, Simp and aBeZy, it's tough to look past them for the dub. But honestly, who knows? The teams that are expected to be really good in this maybe aren't always necessarily, but there should be some pretty damn good chemistry there as well. I'm thinking it's Nero and Estriel, right? Because that's the expected SMG duo on the Minnesota Rocker as it stands, along with Sib and Attach. I will say, there are some pretty good sleeper teams in here. Like, obviously, all of these players are some of the best 50 COD players in the entire world. So every team you form is going to be pretty good. I actually really quite like Team 4. I think it's funny to have Scrap and Tej on the same team because we know that they, you know, often have a bit of a back and forth. But still, Scrap, Ghosty, Gwinn and Tej, that's pretty nice. Insight Beans, Mack and Kremp, I'm not so sure on that one. As I say, the Sib Attach Neo Estriel team, that could be pretty good as well. Metals, Lucky, Hicksy 04. Not very confident in that, but you never know, right? Because of course, like, a lot of it is search and destroy, and sometimes teams really just click and search. The FaZe AR duo is with Vikal and Real. I think that's going to be kind of interesting from like a chemistry perspective, so I'm not so sure there. I like Team 7 and Team 8 though. Abuzah, Nastie, like the AR duo from, of course, the, you know, Seattle Surge or Vancouver Surge they're going to be. Probably the stronger of the two duos they have within their lineup, compared to Hicksy 04 on paper at least. And then Envoy HyDra, an incredibly strong lineup there. So Abuzah, Nastie, Envoy HyDra is a very nice team on paper. So I like Team 7 a lot actually. And then Team 8 has got the OpTic SMG duo. So whatever your team you form around that is going to be pretty decent at least. Then Priestahh and Skyz. But as I say, for Search and Destroy, that could be pretty good as well. Then Slasher, Vivid, JoeDeceives and CleanX, interesting team. For Search and Destroy, though, as I say, you've always got to never count out Slasher entirely, and I'm sure there's going to be respawns in play here as well, and that's going to be a fast team. It's going to be interesting, though, because Vivid, JoeDeceives, CleanX, I mean, Vivid and CleanX on the same team is going to be rapid, and Slasher is not the fastest AR, so going to be interesting from a pacing perspective. Then GeoPaulX, the other Rocker partnership with Purge and Snoopy, and then Cammy, Wake, Kismet, and Lynz. So I'm looking at Team 1, obviously. I'm looking at Team 7, Team 4, Team 8, and potentially the favourites here for the tournament. But certainly Dashy knows that he's in a pretty decent position, right? Simp's here with the replies, and, you know, Dashy's basically licking his lips here at the possibility of playing with Kenny, Simp and aBeZy with $25,000 on the line. And if you look at some of the numbers, it is pretty impressive when total championship wins. As I said, Team 8 is also a good one with Priestahh, Skyz, Pred and Shotzzy for sure, and they have 26 championship wins. Team 1, though, does have the most. 7 rings on that team, 36 championship wins, and you know, there's obviously plenty of other teams with also very good success in their history. There is a pretty decent correlation here between the favourites that you would expect and the teams that, well, are having the actual most wins of their players when you combine them all up. But very much into your thoughts as ever on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.